And there's just a bunch of private videos. So I guess I can talk about that weird part, which I already spoke about it a bit on Trash Taste. There's a whole really fucked up history behind it. It's really sad. It's really fucked up. Why did I private it? Okay, well here we go. This is a long story. Okay, so for those who know, you know it's Gigamunkus. So I spoke about this on Trash Taste. When I started doing Sebastian stuff, right? My main concern was like, I need more content. Like, since I started, I had like a plan. Like, from the very first time where I started making YouTube videos, I had this plan, I had this drive that I wanted to make this work. And so I would just kind of work with what I had and I would expand that. And then I would worry about how I would go about it afterwards, right? So my thought process was like, I think the way forward for this type of content was to have more organic stuff by having someone who could also voice the other characters in Black Belt. And I was reached out to by a person who went by the name CL. And they called themselves CL, and they were like super fucking like into this role in a very intense way. But at the time I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, just do the voice. I don't care if off camera you wanna be the character. I was like, whatever. It was weird as fuck for me because this person was like, I am CL. And I was like, all right, okay. Weird. You remember now? Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. This is a sad story. It's a sad story. You know, it was whatever. I never really spoke to them outside of recording. Everyone thought that like we were like best friends and stuff, but we never really spoke outside of the recording just because I was like, the person was very weird. But I was like, you know what? I can just have them in the video. It's no problem. What's the worst that could happen? Right? So we're making these videos and this person was like, you know, there's a lot of times where it was like really like annoying working with them. We'd arrange like a time. This is just like while I'm doing it, right? I'm trying to give you my perspective of how what happened. While I was working with them, they were just super unreliable. I would schedule things. They wouldn't show up. I would like go to a lot of effort to get stuff made, and then they wouldn't fucking help me with anything. It was really fucking annoying. And you know, and then my channel was doing a lot better than theirs because I was really on that grind, right? And there was like multiple conversations where like, you know, when you're two YouTubers, right? The etiquette is, right, if two YouTubers are collabing, you don't ask for money from each other. Just not a thing. Just don't ask for money. But obviously my channel was doing a lot better because I was really consistent. And so the CL person was like, hey, can you start paying me for every video that I'm in? And I was like, what? What? You don't pay me to be in your videos. It's not my fault that you don't do your thing. What the fuck? And so there's a lot of arguments about that. And I was just like, you know what? I'm done. Like, I just stopped making videos with them. Even though they were still doing their own thing, I just stopped making videos with them. And if they wanted me to be in their thing, I'd be like, all right, whatever. I just like stopped, literally paid actor, KegW. I was like, I'm not gonna pay you. What the fuck? Like, we both do the same thing. We both benefit from this. What are you talking about? Just so much weird shit, you know, and they would always spend all day pretending to be like CL and stuff. And it was just like really weird. But, you know, at the time I was like, I just thought, you know, I'm just trying to get the videos done. I don't really give a fuck. I'm never going to hang out with you. I just wanted to get the videos done. And yeah, and that was it for like 2-3 years. I just didn't work with them. And yeah, nothing happened. And then did the dude seriously? Yeah. So yeah, there was you know, there's a lot of factors involved, and it was just like really bizarre. And now they're irrelevant, a bit more than irrelevant. You know, because when you want to, in my mind, it's like it's better to just bite your tongue, get shit done sometimes than just make a fucking fuss. But it got to the point where it was too annoying to work with this person. So that's why I just stopped working with them. And I started doing my own thing as well. I was like, fuck this, I don't want to do this. So one time, like 3 years later, because this person was older than me as well. Like, yeah, whatever. I don't know what they go by. All I ever knew was fucking CL. But The person fucking called himself CL. Fucking weird. Which I was like, I don't want to fucking do that. What the fuck? You know, chilling. And I can't remember what year it was. It was when I was living in London, when I first was there. They were like obsessed with London because obviously obsessed with CL, obsessed with everything. London, British things, whatever. And then they were like, oh, let's like hang out. And I was like, I'm like, I mean, I guess I'll just come say hi. I'll come say hi because, like, you know, I feel like it was the least obligation because we'd done so much work together at one point. I was like, it'd be rude not to be like, just say hi. So I went up and said hi, but it was just fucking weird. Like, I went there and I turn up and it's just like, they're there and then they have like their friend with them and the friend just doesn't say anything. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? And I remember I asked them, I was like, you look really like young. How old are you? They were like, oh, I'm like 17. I'm like, oh, you can fly when you're 17? And they were like, oh no, it's like, you know, you're allowed to fly if you're 17 with the parental, like guardianship. And I was like, what the fuck? And then that's when I was like really weirded out. And I was like, all right. I made up some excuse about why I needed to leave because I was like, this is just weird. Like, I was like, no. Because me being way too fucking polite, I didn't even want to fucking go in the first place, and I turn up and it's fucking weird. Yeah, how old was this person? I think they said they were 17. I don't know. They looked young. They looked around 17. But I was like, they look weird because I think this person at the time was like 20. I think 20. So I was like, weird. And so I made like, I was like, I'm out. I'm done. Like, I'm leaving. So I leave. I have no contact with them. And then like 2 years later, or like a year later, I get like a DM that's like, oh, by the way, this person's been arrested. And I was like, what the fuck? And obviously, because in America, you can just like access like arrest records. I was like, wow, okay. So I look at it and I'm like, what? What? Because when I bear in mind, this person was like a pusher. Like this person was like, just like in my mind, they were just a fucking loser. I didn't think they were capable of doing anything. Like even just like making their own videos. I was like, what the fuck could they do? And so then I see on this charges, it's like aggravated molestation, assault or something. It's like 2 or 3 charges of like molestation of like minors. And it's like, what the fuck? And so I'm freaking the fuck out. I'm like, what the fuck? And I started feeling horrible because I'm like, oh my God. Like, I felt so guilty that me working with this guy probably like helped because, you know, I was the one putting in all the grind. I was the one making all the videos. And then I felt so fucking bad that I'd kind of helped this guy get a platform in a way. And like, I felt so awful and so guilty about that. And I still feel guilty about it. But like, I had no way of knowing. It's kind of fucked. Like, I wish I like, well, like, even if you know, what the fuck can you do? Like, there's sus things, but like, there's so many people that do sus things, but you can't know, right? Like, it's like, fuck, I don't know. It's so fucked. It's so fucked. It's just like, it just makes me sad because you're like, oh my God. You know there's people out there that do this shit, but it was like horrifying to find out that like someone who you knew and you thought you understood somewhat would be capable of doing something like that, you know? It's so fucked up. It's so fucked up. You know, and I don't know, it's just, it's rough. It's, and so the reason why this comes all back to it, right? The reason why all the videos are privated, because, you know, I know people were like, oh, you don't have to do that. You don't have to like, get rid of your videos or whatever. And I was just like, I don't want to have these videos up. So I just privated all of them. Just privated all the videos that featured them because I just didn't want any of them up. Like, that's just for me. I don't care if someone else I don't give a fuck if somebody else wants to watch them. It's like, me personally, I just don't want that shit on my channel. I don't feel comfortable with that. You know, and it sucked because like at this time, I really can't like stress how bad that, like that, doing that really put me in a kind of a really bad financial situation. Because I pretty much at the time, I pretty much privated like half of my, like more than half of my entire videos. Like, and then this was like my backlog. Like this is like awful. Like, so I pretty much like lost, I'd had this whole thing, and then now I had to deal with like half my half my fucking money gone, like every month. And this is the time where I was like really needing the money. But I, you know, I still wanted to make that decision. I still felt it was right. You know, I felt like I knew it was going to be okay. At the end of the day, I knew I was going to be okay. And I was pretty confident that I could bounce back from it. But it was, at the time, it was just like, dude, it just felt like awful. It just felt like my world was like collapsing. It was so bad. And it really made me not want to make anything anime related. But at the time, I was just like, I was like stuck in that hole where I didn't really have a choice. But we'll talk about it. You know, it's not all sad. You know, I at the end of the day, the hardest decisions are you know, normally the ones worth making a lot of the time. It's not a decision that was that you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to private half of my work. You know, like all of those hours that I put in, because at the point where like all of these stuff was edited by me, right? So this was like hours upon hours upon hours of my work that I was still, like the actual work itself I thought was good, but was now completely tainted because of this one person. So it was really just like, it just sucked. It just sucked so much. I'd put so much work in, and it was kind of just taken away from me because this person was a giant piece of shit and a fucking vile human being. It sucks. But I'm glad, you know, I'm really glad I made that decision looking back. You know, I think I definitely did the right thing. So yeah,